Hey, hey, it's Scott Barratt, and you're listening to another episode of The Burning Truth. And guess what? I'm flying a bit solo Sokoa this morning without my regular co-host, Matt Burns, as I always do on a Wednesday morning now, without Matt from the Burning Truth Live podcast. But we're kicking on anyway, diving into all things last night's NXT on the CW. Stick around, we'll break it all down because, trust me, there is plenty to talk about. As ever, please, post your thoughts and comments as we go through last night's NXT. We'll talk about them as we go through. And let's have a smashing time, eh? Let's do it. Let's get straight in to NXT. So, as I try and figure this new system out that I'm using, what I can tell you is that the first segment on the show was Trick Williams promo. Trick Williams is out there. He's fresh off his NXT Championship win. He's talking about how he's ready to fend off all challenges. Then who should turn up but Wesley? He's determined to take that championship. You think, all right, so we're going to get a classic showdown, maybe next week's main event, maybe a few weeks down the line. And then surprise, boom, someone random shows up. Who's out here? It's only frigging Jey Uso. Jey Uso on NXT. And that's exactly what's so good about NXT at the minute, which is you never know who's going to turn up, right? Jey Uso turning up, fantastic. NXT starting to feel like the generation game. You never know who's going to roll through the curtain next. Could be a challenger, a legend. I mean, at this point, he could even be a contestant from Love Island, right? But hopefully, at some point, we're going to get this match now. We're going to get Wesley versus Trick Williams, and I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. 1000%. Are you, I suppose, is the question. Get it in the comments if you are here for it, because I definitely am. Next, we had a 6 women's tag team match, and this was brilliant, I thought. So we got Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Kalani Jordan versus Fatal Influence. The match had some serious star power with the addition of Belair and Cargill. It's like watching two Titans team up, them two. Belair, as always, force of nature, whether she's showing off, massive strength or that picture-perfect 450 splash, which I don't think we got this week. But, I mean, she is an absolute beast. She makes everything look effortless. And then there's Jade Cargill, right? So absolute dominance personified. And her intensity on the female side is something I think absolutely unmatched. I really, really, really like Jade Cargill. I'm a big fan. And again, so athletic, such an absolute beast. Kalani Jordan did her thing too, and that's the whole point here, right? It's about getting the NXT talent over, nailing a split-legged moonsault for the win. But let's be real, the presence of Belair and Cargill was the main event before the match even started on this. I think seeing Belair and Cargill on the same side's like watching two superheroes team up. It's like bloody Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman and Storm. Don't know what happened to my teeth there. Wonder Woman. It's like Wonder Woman and Storm joining forces, and I think that just makes everybody else look less than in comparison. They are phenomenal. Then what did we have? We had backstage. I think we had Lexus King and the Heritage Cup champion. So King was looking for some advice after a match from a few weeks ago. He was watching a video, I think, from a match a few weeks ago, and Dar gave him some tips. But honestly, it feels like Dar's the type to mix real advice with a few tricks as well. So I'm not really familiar with the characters, but I just didn't think. Do you know what? I'm not sold on any of those characters in that segment, and I haven't really got much to say about it until I know a little bit more about them. Talked about this last week, but I'm not a huge watcher of NXT over the last few years. In fact, I'm picking it back up now. Last time I watched NXT consistently was probably when Keith Lee was champion. So I'm picking up all these characters over the last couple of weeks, and I'm not sold yet. But Lexus King, I am. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure yet. Neither with Noam Dar, and I know he was on Raw a few years ago. But again, I'm not quite so. Hopefully, it'll come right. That's what we want. We want to build. We want to build characters that I'm familiar with, because I am taking this project as NXT moved over to the CW. I'm looking at it as a new fan, or maybe a lapsed fan that's coming back, because there's wrestling on the CW. I'm going to put that on. I'm going to have a nose at what's going on. That's who I am in this moment, right? And so far these characters just aren't clicking for me, but who knows? A few weeks down the line, I might be saying, "Oh, it's the best thing on NXT." You know, that's the beauty of professional wrestling. Then we had another promo. We had Roxanne, Perez, and Cora Jade. They were in the ring teaming up, cutting a promo. And honestly, it wasn't great. The whole thing felt a bit off for me, like they were trying to build up drama, and it just came across a bit cringe, a bit awkward. It was a bit like when, you know, when your sisters are rehearsing for hours to put on a show in the living room for your parents, and then after about 30 seconds, your dad just wishes he was on his phone instead. I was really relieved when Julia and Stephanie Vaquer came out to crash it. Vaquer? You tell me, how do you pronounce that? Came out to crash it because, you know, finally something interesting happened, and I am interested in those four, and there's probably some good story and some really good matches to come out of that. So yeah, I suppose that is a bit, you know, wait and see, but I'm interested in the characters there, even if the promo felt a little bit off. And last week's reveal of Cora Jade returning and helping Roxanne Perez, yeah, 100% the right thing to do. Then we had what could have been the main event. Could have been a main event anywhere in the world, goddammit. Which was the North American Championship. Tony D'Angelo versus the champion Omar Femi. And this was banging, right? So let's start, you know, spoilers, you're watching a review. I did not see the title change coming. Tony D'Angelo shocked everyone, I think, by winning the North American Championship from Omar Femi. I do wonder what the purpose is behind that. Maybe it's part of a push to elevate him as a top star. Maybe Ober's been set up for bigger things in the main event or even on the main roster. But it definitely shook up NXT for me. But what a match, yeah? Oh, absolute beast. I'm unfamiliar with both of these. Last week they set the match up. I was really interested in that. The match came this week and absolute banger. Yeah, proper banger. Really, really enjoyed it. And you can say all you want about AEW and putting on great matches and all the rest of it, but my God, these guys worked their arses off, and it showed, right? It was really, really, really good. 1000% brilliant. And the finish with the cheeky roll-up after they used the table and, you know, the announce table and whatever else they'd used, yeah, fantastic. Some really good moves. Omar Femi, that guy's a star, right? Absolute star. Really, really like his character. Really like his presentation. Then we got backstage segments, a couple of backstage segments actually, but we did have, I think it was Jada Parker and Ava. Again, I'm not massively familiar with the characters, but one of them was definitely in the mood for a fight. Jada Parker, I think she was talking to Ava, which I sort of get is maybe the general manager here. And she was on about getting a match with Lola Vice. You could feel the tension. And I think Ava looks to be like a manipulator sort of character. She seemed all too happy to sort of stir the pot. And then we had another character appear, which I believe is Nikita Lyons. Again, not overly familiar with her character, but things got heated then real fast. And it looks like we've got a bit of a showdown brewing there as well. So lots going on. And again, a tease. So next week when they appear and there's a match, I know what's going on, and I really appreciated that. And again, I think they did the thing this week that they did last week with the little, and I noticed it on Raw actually as well. If you didn't see Monday Night Raw, they did the same thing when the New Day were backstage. Just the little name tags at the bottom of the screen, so we know what we're talking about. We know who we're talking about. We're getting familiar with the characters. Really like that detail. That really helps someone like me who isn't familiar. Then we had match 3, and you know, you say, how could you improve upon the North American Championship match between Tony D'Angelo and Omar Femi? And that is bring out some more star power, right? So what we had is the NXT tag team champions, Fraxiom, which is Nathan Fraser and Axiom. Yeah, again, not overly familiar with these guys. Apologies. And they were versus A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, who we're really familiar with from SmackDown. Austin Theory at one point looked to be the heir apparent. Grayson Waller is a floundering character for me on the main roster, but a great way to use him here on NXT. Fraxiom retained the titles in what felt like a match on Fast Forward. They were moving so fast. I'm still trying to process it now, and I watched it a couple hours ago. Fraser and Axiom got the win, but at one point, I honestly thought I did fast forward on my remote just to keep up with them. It was absolutely fantastic. Another great match on this episode of NXT. It's a bit like playing a video game, watching them two, though, I think. Every time you blink, someone's hitting a moonsault. So, yeah, Tag Team Championships, another quality match. Then we had, trying to get my words out, a segment where Sexyy Red was going to perform. Again, not overly familiar with Sexyy Red, right? I'm not going to lie. It's not really my kind of music. And thank God for Ethan Page, right? He showed up just in time, looking upset about not being in the main event, losing his championship last week, yada, yada. And he was demanding a rematch, right? And before things got too heated, Javon Evans arrives, who's in the main event against Randy Orton, in 2 minutes. And he came out and took him out. Classic wrestling chaos. Do you know what? I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. Ethan Page, though, crashing Sexyy Red's performance. It saved me from taking a walk, if I'm totally honest, because it had almost lost me at that point. It had almost lost me. But, just while we're talking about it, don't mess with music, fans. So, just because I don't like it doesn't mean it isn't good, right? That's not what it means. And then, boom, the main event. The main event, right? We got what everybody was here for, yeah? We got Randy Orton on NXT, yeah? We got Randy Orton versus Javon Evans. Randy steps into NXT ring against Javon Evans. I think it's the first time he's been there. Javon put up a fight. It really reminded me of Jeff Hardy and The Undertaker from the ladder match from Raw years and years and years and years ago, where we were really trying to put over the young guy. And yes, I'll admit the finish was a bit messy, yeah. But I'm going to say it was probably impossible to pull off to begin with. If they tested that, right, and they got it right, it was a total fluke, yeah. Because in all honesty, I don't think that's possible, right? What he was trying to do, the flip he did, the rotation, Randy Orton, I could not see him actually hitting that RKO from that. I think it was impossible to begin with. So I don't think I'm going to put my hands up and say it's a botch, because I don't think it was a botch, if you like. I hate that term anyway, botch. Because I don't think anything's a botch. It is what it is. But yeah, what they were trying was probably impossible to begin with. So I'm not mad about it. It was great seeing Randy Orton in NXT. Picked him up, giving the RKO for the finish after the missed move from the top rope. And Randy, he did exactly what he was there to do. He elevated Javon Evans. He brought star power, and Javon looked better for it, right? 1,000%. I'm familiar with him now. Yeah, I am a Javon Evans guy after that match, and that's the point. The point was that we bring him in and we make him look a star, and that's what we did. So, the only other thing is that Randy Orton could probably hit an RKO in his sleep. They say you never forget how to ride a bike, but I think for Randy Orton, it's about dropping people with an RKO. But yeah, that was this week's NXT. The end of the night, Randy Orton holds Javon Evans' hand up high, saying, well done, congratulations, you're a future star. And I believed it, yeah. So, where does that leave us after this week's NXT? Well, it leaves us with Ethan Page still looking for a championship match. It leaves us with Trick Williams, being interrupted by Wesley. So Wesley looking for a championship match. It leaves us with the North American champion, Kalani Jordan, for the women's side, potentially having a match with one of the ladies from Fatal Influence. There's obviously something going on with Lexus King. So we'll see how that goes. We've got the huge 4-person women's NXT championship feud with Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. And now we've got Tony D'Angelo as the North American champion. So going forward, we've got absolutely loads of stuff going on to watch, to follow, to enjoy. And I'm not mad about it. So I'll be here next Monday again for another review of next week's NXT. I've seen no comments come through yet. So please, if you're watching this video back, pop your comments in the chat and we'll have a talk about it next week. Or if you're watching next week and you post a comment, we can talk about it while I'm live on air. And that is a wrap for this week's episode of NXT on the Burning Truth Live. Thanks so much for joining me. Hope you've had as much fun listening as I've had recording and talking about it. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can find us on Twitter at TBT Live UK, Instagram at The Burning Truth, and on Facebook at The Burning Truth. And that's the beauty of this. We're now on YouTube, all episodes and NXT live reactions at Burning Truth 251. But you already knew that if you're watching this video. So press that subscribe button, like the video. It'll really, really, really help the algorithm. And I'll love you forever for doing it, right? Genuinely, I will love you forever for doing it. So please do that. Drop us an email as well if you like, info@theburningtruthuk.com. And don't forget to leave those comments. It really helps spread the word, share with your friends, and check out the website, theburningtruthuk.com, for more updates. And as Matt Burns always says, until next time, stay positive, keep enjoying the wrestling, and we'll catch you on the next episode of The Burning Truth Live. And then I think I say something like, Excelsior! Peace, guys. Cheers.